We've seen different experts think that the Browns are going to draft potentially an offensive tackle. If they do that, do you think they're ready to move on from Jedrick Wills? In other words, if they draft an offensive tackle at either 54 or 85, does it signal, even though they've picked up that fifth-year option, that the clock is kind of ticking on Jedrick Wills, do you think?
Well, I think it could be an indicator. I do know Andrew Berry used the term kind of we're offensive line snobs, and they have drafted offensive linemen every year. Like I said, DeJuan Jones last year, I don't know if he was the plan, but when he was sitting there in the fourth round, they had him rated as a second round type and a first round. They drafted him. There's some guys there, that I like, that could be there in the second round or in the third round. And I could really, there's some guys on our site that have made the case to take, you know, a left guard or a guard and a tackle for the future with their first two picks this year. So I don't know. I mean, you have to think DeJuan Jones is going to be one of the tackles. Conklin, you have a big number, if they're going to move on from him, then you would go with DeJuan Jones. You'd hate to think he was going to sit on the bench. So all the way around, yeah, it does depend on what they think Jedrick Wills. But before you're ready to move on from him, you want to make sure you have somebody that's as good, if not better, because Jedrick Wills, for all it's said about him, he grades out kind of at least in the middle of the pack as one of the at least an average starter, and you don't want to get somebody that can't play at all. So I just think they'll show really what they're thinking. But if they think a guy's really good in the second round, I don't think they'd pass him up and worry about what to do with Jedrick Wills. I would think the thinking is, what do you do with Jack Conklin? A guy that's near 30 coming off major injuries 2 years in a row.